Hey there, thanks for joining us. Greg, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you today, Alicia?
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
So today, another service offering. We are talking specifically about...
We're going to talk today about machine guarding and lockout tagout.
Okay, so you're actually going to kind of show us a demo too, but I'd like for you to just start by giving us an overview of the services that you offer in this area.
Cool. Well, this one is one of my favorites, and the reason is almost every year in the top 10 OSHA violations. So at the end of the year, everybody waits to see what the top 10 is going to be. Lockout tagout's usually in the top 5.
Okay.
They're right along with machine guarding. So they're almost always in the top 5. And that's a problem for a lot of companies that have any kind of equipment on their facility or any potential to be exposed to hazardous energy or unexpected startups. And that's what lockout tagout's all about. Controlling the machine. So when you're working on it, you're going to plan to not have an unexpected startup where it could hurt somebody, where it'd be a crush, a pinch, an amputation, something bad. Okay. Most injuries related to lockout tagout and badly.
Okay. So what about machine guarding? Tell me what
Machine guarding is right along with the same. That's why I lumped these two together. Okay. So a lot of people think that they're good because they buy the equipment to order a new, let's say a 12-blade sawmill. The saw comes in, you put it in use, and somebody cuts their fingers off, and there's no guarding. It didn't show up with it. And they're like, well, the manufacturer should have did that. No, it's the person that purchases it. That's their responsibility. They have to make sure that things are properly guarded. So you have to look at the way things move, points of operation, pinch points. And it needs to be looked at differently. It needs to also be looked at with the way the employee interacts with the machine. So if you have a problem with preventative maintenance and the machine's breaking down or jamming a lot, and then a person's reaching into it or reaching around the guard, that's all issues where people can get hurt. So when we do evaluations and our walkthroughs and we visit our customers and our clients, we're really looking at the whole entire process. So that's why I lumped lockout, tagout, and machine guarding together.
Okay. So you said you're looking at the whole process when you actually go to your customer's location. So tell me what that looks like. What are you doing to make this successful?
Well, usually we're there, we're watching them work. At some point something breaks or something goes wrong. That's my favorite time to check out what they're doing. Let's say a maintenance guy comes over and he goes to work on it and it's a lockout situation. He's not locking it out. That's when I'm going to want to talk to them and say, hey, what kind of program do you have? Or when's the last time you've been trained on lockout tagout? And lockout tagout, everybody, it's really difficult. There's a lot of gaps in the program, and I see a lot of companies miss doing like annual evaluations. You have to evaluate your equipment every year to make sure that the lockout policies that you have in place actually work. Because somebody can come in, maybe an outside contractor comes in and makes a repair and he rewires it different and didn't label your panel, and now you have a problem. So somebody goes to work on it and they think it's off because the old label says so, and boom, you stick your hand in, the machine turns on and you get an injury. So evaluating the whole thing is where I really go into the mud with the guys involved to understand what's going on. And your guys also need to be trained and checked annually also. And a lot of companies forget that part. So they might just do, hey, I got all my guys, but they forget the equipment. And a lot of places, even small ones, could have 50 to 60 different pieces of equipment that require lockout tagout to be written. Okay.
So you're obviously out there and you say you kind of watch for, things that they aren't doing right. How long are you typically out there? Is it like a span of days, or what's that look like?
That's a great question. And usually we try to go out, and maybe the initial assessment could be an 8-hour day, maybe longer. Some shops are bigger. It could take a few visits. Very efficient though. I like to get there and dig in and observe and walk around. And I usually like to do it with like a plant manager, or department head, or supervisor, or general manager, or somebody that is familiar with the entire plant, and walk through the process from start to finish. So if you're making something out of steel, maybe it's a coil steel and you're rolling it into pipe, we'll walk in, follow the steel through the process where it comes in flat, it gets rolled, cut, turned into pipe all the way out to the shipping department. And I always tell everybody, I like stories. I could talk for hours about it, right? So I see somebody going over to do lockout tagout and they're not doing it. And my whole question along the way is, lockout tagout is simple, guys. The hard part's writing it and making sure you're doing it. But to literally go over and shut, whether it's electric or steam or pneumatic, because every form of energy needs to be locked out, it takes seconds to do it. So you take your lock and your tag, and you would use a lockout device. This is for an end of a plug. This one here is for a gate valve. If I'm shutting off a line that has, let's say, just hot water, I would take this, I would put this on the gate valve after we're shut. That takes a second to do. I would take my lock with one key. I would make sure I have that on my person, and I would lock it out. It's this simple. And then I would do the tryout part. And I wish that they would change the name of this to lockout, tagout, tryout, because when you're done, you want to try to turn that sucker on to make sure that you're not going to get hurt when you go into work on it. So that took seconds to show you here. It's even quicker when you're comfortable and used to doing it. I don't know why people cut corners on this one. It shouldn't be in the top 10 every year. It's a very simple process, and it saves so many injuries.
Yeah. Well, it is a pretty simple thing, and if a lot of companies are just kind of doing that one time, 8-hour, whatever session of training, I mean, those can kind of take a while and you start to get a little sleepy during them. So maybe you missed the part on lockout, tagout, or, something as simple as that. Like you said, it's also kind of easy to just maybe forget that, right? And that's probably maybe why it's in the top every year, like you said. So that's why we're here, though. We want to talk about these services, and we want to help, your customers or potential customers understand them a little bit better and really see how you're going to be able to come into their location and make these things happen for them and be more of a relationship with your customers and showing them versus just watching a video for a couple hours and maybe taking a quiz on it. So if you're interested in working with SafT Integration, make sure you get in contact with them. Explore the rest of the website, saftyintegration.com, and you know that you will be in good hands. So thank you so much for watching, and thanks again, Greg.
Thank you.